Hey guys, I'm back for some more Art of War 3. Okay. So we're gonna play the special Christmas tournament for 2020. In this tournament, you'll actually have to be responsible for collecting a tree with a truck, a given truck that spawns once every couple seconds. I'd guess about 20 seconds. And you only get one truck at a time. So I have a truck right there. And there's the spot of a Christmas tree right there. So the goal is to collect 5 Christmas trees before your opponent, or completely destroy their base. Okay, so in terms of the battle, we did some good scouting. Okay, now I made a coyote and I'm moving some troops over to the tree, so then I can take my truck and capture it. Okay, so we can see my enemy is scouting me with a couple of assaults, and using the remaining assaults to try and attack the Christmas tree. Okay, so as my Christmas tree is going back, I start to build aviation, and you can see that I got a red container and some containers, resource containers. Okay, so now my opponent is attacking me with his own troops. Okay, so for every for every tree you capture, you get 2 resource containers with a couple of resources, and you get a random chance of either a blue container, a red container, or a gold container. The gold container has the least amount of chance you can get, but has the best loot. And each container you can open after the battle, regardless if you win or not. So that's always a perk. Alright, so my opponent's attack right here has failed because of my hawks. And so he stops producing units and moving over there. Okay, so at this time I go HQ level 4. And we can see that my opponent has Vortex out. Alright, okay. So this might be an intense battle. Especially because Vertex usually wins against Hawks. And to try to attack, to try and make sure my opponent doesn't get Vertex, I attempt to attack. But my health for my Hawks are in critical position and I end up retreating, losing one Hawk on the way. Okay, so enemy Vertex is right here. Yet my maneuverability on the Hawk uh, isn't... It's maxed for my rank, but as we all know, Hawks have worse maneuverability than Vertex, and that ends up costing me a Hawk and a Jaguar as well. Okay, so my Jaguar ends up dying from those heavy assaults and that Vertex, and my opponent has now he has the ability to take that point now. Okay, so that rifleman right there is a very important scout. Probably the most important unit of this game. Because, as you'll see later along this video, this rifleman... Okay, see the vertex going up? As the vertex go up, my hawks go up. So then I can intercept the vertex. Right there, as you can see. Okay, the first hawk is shooting at the heavy assault, but the second hawk and the third hawk are firing at the vertex. So the interception was great, although the late engagement was pretty bad, because the maneuverability of the vertex is always key in air combat. But that one rifleman scouting the opponent is a very crucial point of information. And so I sent that hawk to scout, maybe deal a little bit of damage against the vertex, especially since I have 2 avia factories producing hawks. Right, so enemy vertex going out. And yeah, that was bad engagement. That's on my end. Okay, so my opponent now has a pretty good standing army to capture that tree. Of course, I go full hawks and a couple of jaguars along the way. Okay. Right, so we see a second avian factory being built, which leads me to think blue, my opponent, is going for a level 4 HQ. Alright, so I try attacking the vertex with my engagement, yet he falls back, and then hits me again with his vertex. So my opponent did some good aerial engagement. Okay, so that attack was pretty bad. And we can see my opponent is upgrading that Avia Factory to level 2. So yeah, he's gonna get a lot of vertex. Okay. And so with these couple of hawks going on an interception, found out that yeah, he does have HQ4 and 2 Avia factories. But what more is that he stopped production of Zeus, which makes me think that he's going on an all aviation attack. Okay, so good vertex control from my opponent, and my control with my hawks. Okay, so this AVA combat, very important turning point. Okay. Very important turning point in the amount of vertex my opponent has, because I snatched a couple of vertex when he was destroying my jaguars. So that was a pretty important interception. Okay, so see how the vertex went down? Alright, so this is a very important spot. So my vertex intercepted those, my hawks intercepted those vertex going to snipe my HQ. So that one rifleman, this one rifleman right there, saved my level 5 HQ. So that is how valuable intel can be. Which is why playing as the Resistance is actually very promising intel-wise. Because playing as the Confederation, you don't get a lot of features like the Resistance does. The Resistance has more supportive units, while the Confederation has more combat-filled units. Combat forward. Okay, so I deal some damage to my enemy ground units, while my enemy is still building vertex. And since I sniped one of his Avia factories, he has less vertex. And now with my hawk sniping the remaining vertex, he has no vertex anymore. Okay, so HQ level 5, and a couple of extra airfields. Alright, so I decide to attack his Avia factory one more time, to prevent from vertex being built. And so yeah, that's pretty good. Alright. So at this point in time, my opponent has officially surrendered. I think. Yeah, I think so. Alright, so that tree is bouncing very happily. Alright, so even though my opponent has surrendered, I still have to make sure to bring my transports back. Because as I said it earlier in the video, they give you containers that you can open after the battle. And right now, I just got a golden container. Yeah, so the golden container was absolutely worth it. If I ended the battle a little quickly, I wouldn't have gotten it. So, yeah. Basically, the Christmas tournament and the Christmas AI skirmish is actually pretty good because it gives you these containers. And so this one rifleman right here basically won me the game. Because I paid attention to the vertex getting up, I was able to predict my opponent's every single move. So even just one cyclone, one measly cyclone to detect that rifleman would have caused would have actually been a good move for my opponent because if he didn't cuz yeah, if he didn't see my rifleman, in this case he didn't, he lost so many vertex and he I knew what he was going to do. So, whenever you play as the Confederation, always make a cyclone. Okay, so good game. Yeah, the battle actually ended at 34 minutes. Yeah, so good game. I won. GG.